everyone. I'm excited today to bring you Tom Baber. Tom is the CEO of the Money Mailer franchisee, and he's got a really interesting story that we're going to dive into where he went from like a small business owner, actually with a bunch of different businesses, to becoming a franchisee of Money Mailer to, about 3 years ago, taking over as the CEO, bought out the whole franchise and is making some awesome improvements to it. So I think it'd be a great story, and welcome to the show, Tom.
Brian, thanks so much for having me. Really happy to be here.
Awesome. So when did you first become an entrepreneur with your own business?
Very late 80s, early 90s. I had started my career in the city. It was not where I wanted to stay long term for a variety of reasons. And I started venturing out on my own with some small businesses, a tanning salon, a house cleaning business, an advertising agency, full service, which is kind of, you'll hear how I got into Money Mailer at some point.
Awesome. And then, so you're doing that for years. What was your favorite kind of business back then? Like, what gave you joy and money?
You know what? As long as I had less businesses than I can count on one hand and I can control them, I found them all to be fun for different reasons. I would say, it's a little premature, but I would say the Money Mailer business was the best from a lifestyle standpoint because nothing happened after 5 o'clock and nothing happened on weekends. And I'll probably stress that a little bit. Yeah.
The restaurant business or other things that sounds like you were involved in.
Yeah. And the employees don't show up and so on. It's very different at Money Mailer.
Yep.
So yeah, it's always had a soft spot for me.
How do you feel about back then, and I've changed over my years too, but entrepreneurs chasing the shiny objects, right? So back then you're like, oh, I got this business idea, I'm going to go chase it. I got this other idea, I'm going to go chase it. That was me too. And even now over the years, I'm trying to stay super, super laser focused on the things I'm good at. There's an old saying, if you chase two rabbits, you catch none.
None.
So I don't know. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? Like, how have you kind of done it, or do you still have it, that issue?
I would say that every entrepreneur still has it at times. It's whether you can harness it, Brian. I think that was well said. We're going to talk about the businesses I still have today, but I haven't expanded the other ones. We run them well, but I'm very focused on Money Mailer for a variety of reasons today. And so yep. I've tried to learn that discipline as much as possible.
Yeah. The philosophy I'm trying to take is, so I'm only going to chase one rabbit, but I have the ability to hire a hunter who can go chase the other rabbit for me.
Oh, there you go.
So I can build the team, and if they're all focused and they're good and they can, they have a clear vision and authority and, can execute, then, I can pursue and build it in multiple verticals. But it can't be me as I can't be the guy who has to be the one chasing 10 different things, because I'm going to get so diluted and the focus isn't going to be there. And so I think for me, that's I don't know, that's my philosophy now is I'm going to hire great people. I'm going to give them the abilities and the motivation and the vision and the budget and everything, and let them go chase it. And,
absolutely. Yeah.
They should be successful. So awesome. So you're in a business one day, hanging out, selling pizza, whatever you're doing. Talk to me about the direct mail. How'd you get introduced to Money Mailer?
So, I had a full service agency at that point. I had a tanning salon. I had couple other things too, but at the tanning salon, I happened to be there, which, like you try to hire and develop really good people, right? And find spaces that you think are interesting enough to do something with. So I happened to be there, which is fortunate. Gentleman comes in to sell me an ad, which is certainly, a good thing. I need to get more customers like any other small business owner. And I started picking at what he did, right? And started learning about it. And I said, he basically did the front end, and it was my first exposure to franchising, but he was doing the front end. And the back end was handled by someone else. And I knew how much time in my agency I was spending on the back end is where most of my time was spent. It was the agency, my day-to-day. The other businesses were my side businesses. And I'm like, that model's better. And 2 weeks later, I bought that franchise, and I never looked back because they can do the things that I didn't want to do much better than I can do them. Right. And
yep.
There you go.
That's the point of a franchise, right? So so let's dive into that. So let's break it down. So you said, you got the front end, you got the back end. The front end's a whole lot easier than the back end. So let's get into it. So let's talk about the front end first. So the front end, from the way I understand it, is what the franchisee is responsible for, right? So what does that look like? What's their day-to-day? What are the things that they need to do to be successful?
Right, and that's a great question, Brian. And it's the big hurdle of self discipline and being able to sell. When people look at other opportunities, whatever it is, right? Like the IHOP that I have, the IHOPs that we have today, right? Or looking at a Jersey Mike's or looking at any opportunity. Generally, those people come in the door. Going out and selling. Now, probably half the leads our franchisees take care of come from us. We send them to them, but they have to go out and to build relationships in that territory that they're servicing in their neighborhood, in their local community, and they have to get over that hump of being that guy or girl that walks in and deals with that, right? And there's something to be said. Now, to me, that was never a real issue. I mean, it wasn't super fun, but I knew the other businesses. So getting over that hurdle meant, yeah, well, if my kid had a baseball game at 2:30, at that time I didn't have kids yet, but if my kid had a baseball game at 2:30, I could go to it. And at 5 o'clock, not much was going to happen. And very rarely did my employee not show up because in the beginning it was just me, right? So it was a really great way to make a very significant living, and it didn't have the trials and tribulations of the back end. For example, the print plant prints all night, 24 hours a day, right? The trucks leave for the post office. The items need to get delivered. Artists need to create art, right? I mean, everything happens, not the art, but
Yeah.
everything else happens like 24 hours a day. But the stuff that the franchisee is responsible for happens in a very, appropriate window with really a lot of flexibility. So if you have discipline and you can get over that one hurdle, which to me, I didn't love the hurdle, but getting over that hurdle meant I could have a lot more freedom in other things.
Yep. And just so everyone's clear, that the product too is, we're going to small business owners and we're getting them to sign up for a shared mail is envelope, correct?
Yes, it's a
Is
shared mail
the primary
envelope.
product.
Yeah, along with a strong digital component. We have to do both together. I'll talk about that if you like at some point.
Yep. And so we're going to the pizzeria, the tanning salon, the roofer, right? Whoever, and we're selling them a single piece or whatever it is in the shared mail that then gets
Yes.
delivered to a certain amount of households in the neighborhood, and then people sign up on like a recurring revenue. I've been a customer of this type of mailing, and many people who have very local businesses. This is like a great product, right? In the automotive space that I'm in, people don't drive more than a mile to get their cars fixed,
Right.
and so it's very important for us to target the houses right around our stores. Like we're not going to advertise 20 minutes away. No one's driving 20 minutes. They're going to go to the most convenient place that they can like tolerate in our business. And so anyway, everyone's a little bit different how that, based on the model, but for very localized businesses, direct mail is like a huge thing. And, shared direct mail, which maybe you can talk about a little bit as like an industry, is one of the most affordable ways to do it. Compared to doing single pieces, right? And
Yeah, no
seeing like a
question,
strong
right?
ROI. And so anyway,
Yes.
just so we jump ahead there, I know, both me and direct mail really well, but just for everyone listening, like, the product is, this really awesome direct mail shared piece here that we're getting local businesses to sign up with and help them build their business.
Yeah, Brian, thanks for that lead. I appreciate that. And you're right. We both know the business, so thank you for bringing me back and slowing it down. So you could do a solo postcard. Everybody gets them at home in the mail. Works great for small businesses. It's an awesome product we also sell. So let's use a very round, probably too low a number, 30 cents, right? If you're going to do a solo piece, that's probably a little low. In a cooperative piece, they all go in an envelope. They'll be all different businesses. It'll be your dentist, it'll be your pizzeria, it'll be the Mexican restaurant, it'll be an automotive repair place, it'll be all those things. It's around 3 cents a home, right? Because you're all sharing that postage in that envelope. Now, what we try to do for that small business owner, and Brian, you have a pretty sophisticated operation. You probably have a marketing team. Your operation is large. A lot of our customers fit that bill. Our largest customer is Wayfair. Omaha Steaks is right behind it, and we have a lot of regionals. But we also have a lot of small mom and pop. They don't have that ability to have a bunch of people doing stuff for them. So we got to make their life easy. So not only do we give them the print piece in the envelope, we give them a spot on our app. Our app is super well read and it's very intuitive. So that's really nice. We give them a highlight of moneymiller.com, and we give them a landing page so that when people search pizza, Robbinsville, New Jersey, I just picked a town. You want to see, of course, their site. If their guy's doing the SEO, okay, is going to show up. But most importantly, their Money Miller landing page, and their coupon's going to show up. So for that small business owner, boom, they pay their 3 cents a home. We do all that stuff for them, and they can do what they need to do all day.
Okay. And how many homes are they going to get in a typical drop, or what's like the brackets or the buckets?
We call our homes zones, and it's 10,000 homes. Small business typically buying probably 20,000 homes, 10, 20,000 homes, maybe 30. Regional businesses might buy, 100 or 200 or 300, and then other people buy millions.
Yeah. So they're spending $300 per month. These are monthly
Yeah,
mailers
give or
for the most
take
part.
10, 11,
Yeah.
12 times a year. Yeah.
Yep. So spending at minimum 300 bucks, maybe up to 600, 1,000 to kind of get in. And then, it's a numbers game, right? Of what's the percentage that come in for us, like in the direct mail we do, it all varies, but it's about a 2% response rate is what we see. So, if we send out 5,000 or 10,000 homes, we're hoping to get in, two 200 customers, right? And then for us, it's a multiple of how much does the average customer spend? If they on average spend, I don't know, $300 at two, we get 200 in, we generated $60,000 of revenue off that. And, we're looking kind of then at what's the ROI. And obviously it's pretty strong if those are your numbers. So how do you see, I don't know, how do you coach how do the franchisees coach the business owners when they ask that kind of question, or they say, hey, what kind of return am I going to get? Or like, oh, well, I'm not seeing any business increase. Like, I'm sure sometimes it takes time. Like, how do you coach the owners on that?
That's a great question. Thank you. And you didn't even prep that one. That was really good.
I don't prep any of my questions. Come on, Tom.
So Brian, yeah, that's what we do for a living. So Brian, you would be a really easy customer, right? You know what you're looking for ROI. You're sophisticated. I feel like that's great for us. We go in there, we talk about the products we give, we know what our ROI is. Here we have a meeting of the minds. What's that going to be? You're not the typical customer. That typical customer, like you just said, our franchisees, we have to, and I think we do this really well. We have to explain to them, hey, go into that small business owner. Let's talk to them about what their needs are, where they're looking for business, how we need to get it, and what the value of that customer that comes in. If you're a pizzeria, they're likely to come back once a week, once every 10 days. The order's $20. You multiply that out. What's a new customer worth? What's a repeat customer worth? And then we try to walk them through all those pieces really simply in a 20-minute, 30-minute conversation. And then we take that off their plate and just make sure we perform against it.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. Keep it simple. A couple items, right? That whatever they're promoting, the medium pie with the drink or whatever,
exactly.
right?
What do they need? And what is that client worth? And why they should be happy if they get 73 coupons? What does that mean for them? Right.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you talked about.
Yeah. And it's also, hey, that customer, if it's a first time customer and they try you and then they try you again, and then now you become their regular spot. And so, part of it, as advertised, as someone builds their business, it's not always just like, did they come in from the ad or not? It's also like, do we get a new customer? And then, what's your lifetime value of a customer?
No question.
It's a much bigger
value. Yep. Absolutely.
Much bigger than that. All right. So kind of back to my front end, back end. So just so everyone's clear. So like you as a franchisee go out, you build the relationships, you sell the ads, you're kind of like the front facing customer service person. And then the franchisor, you guys on the back end handle everything else, right? You're designing, you're printing, you're mailing, like all the logistical things. It's kind of sales and operations. Franchisee does all the sales. They really handle all the kind of like the operations at the back end that actually gets these pieces into homes, right?
Yeah, franchisee is sales relationship. We'll do the design, but they need to interview. We teach them how to do this to make sure we design an ad design. As you know, Brian, you do a lot of them. Very, very important. We want to make sure the ad design's and that all our digital pieces are again done in the right way. The SEO is right on their landing page, and we are really pretty tight on how we put that together. Once that's put together on the sales side, the relationship is built, we do everything else. We just run with it from there as a franchisor.
Okay. So what year, so back to your story, you're in this tanning salon, the guy tries to pitch on this thing. You say, man, this is a great business model. I want to become a franchisee. I don't have enough on my plate already. Yeah. So what area, did you buy one territory? What area did you buy? What year was that?
1993. I bought a territory, not the territory he was in. He already owned that. I couldn't buy where I had the tanning salon. I bought a different territory. Just about 45 minutes from my house. Not ideal, but it was fine. And I did what franchisees do. You go out and you develop. Now it's a little different now. There's a lot more webinars today. Then it was all feet on the street, right?
Yeah,
And there
yeah.
was not many incoming leads. We generate leads and send them to franchisees today, and but they still need to develop those relationships. They still need to do their own, dreaded cold calling, and they need to do what they need to do. Um, and that's what you're basically doing, developing those relationships during the day. You very rarely sell on the first visit, but once you do, they tend to stick
Yep.
around a long time to do your
So
job.
1993, become a franchisee. What year did they start franchising?
79.
Oh
We're now
wow. Okay.
44 years old. Yeah, I'm 44
Awesome.
years old. Yeah.
And then how many locations are there today, or territories, however you track them all?
We in our 8 million home footprint, we can fit about 160 franchisees, and we will eventually grow our footprint, but that's where we're looking to. We do about 50% corporate now, a little more than that, and we want to fill more franchisees in that space, and we want to grow our footprint. While 8 million is a lot of homes, we have potential to do 40, 50 million homes. So we
Yeah, I
got a
was gonna say how many
long
homes
way
in
to
the
go.
U.S.? 40 to 50 million.
In our targeted area, there's probably 60 million, but what we want to hit is 40 to 50 million. There's 100 million homes in the U.S. So we
Got it.
do
Okay, so you
mid to
got
high income single family is typically who we hit.
and you've got 8 million currently, like you're currently kind of in these markets or servicing these
Yes.
markets, and you want to fill in kind of more, go deeper, more saturated in these cities you're already in versus going into like a virgin market that you have no presences. And is that the idea?
Yeah, eventually we'll go expand those markets, but right now we want to concentrate on these. And a great question, Brian. From the franchisee standpoint, you think about this, and this is what made me, I think, really excited and successful. You buy one territory, but we sell anywhere. It doesn't matter where you are. So I pick up a client in New Jersey who has businesses all across the country, in Colorado, in California, in Illinois, and you can sell them everywhere. So you don't need to buy multiple to build a multi-million-dollar business, because you can sell clients just about anywhere. And you can serve, in New Jersey, you might have, three or four of your 60, 70, 80 clients, which is fairly typical, that, have stuff in Pennsylvania or Illinois or
So does
Colorado.
nobody have multi? You only need one, and
You only need one. No reason to
so
have multi, because you can sell
because
anywhere.
you
It's
can
sky's the
sell,
limit.
and if you buy one, what protection then do you have if other people can sell like in your territory? What does that look like?
Typically, you're not going to get a lot of people competing in your own territory. What you're going to get more of, although you can have it, what you're going to get more of is people in your territory that need to do business everywhere, right?
Got
So
it. The larger or the HVAC company that covers all of Philadelphia and South Jersey, right? And I might have like Montgomery County or whatever, but there's other franchisees that own those other areas. He's not a customer of theirs. I get him as a customer. Then I pay. I assume I pay like some sort of
a
fee to the
carriage
other
fee.
franchisees.
Yeah, we call it a cross sale, but it's a carriage fee. Brian, you'd be a great example. If I walked into Edison,
Yeah, yeah.
right, at your store, right, boom, and you'd have 33 of those stores. So
Yep.
my day
What
is
what
good.
does the other franchisee who owns that mailbox receive?
A carriage fee. So
Okay,
it's a real win-win, right? They had nothing to do with that, but they
so
get
it's like
something for carrying
they
it,
get a piece of
right?
it.
Yep. Everybody wins on that. So the network is the beauty. There's millions of homes to sell into, and you have to buy your little 40, 50,000 piece, corner of the world.
Yep. And what's it cost to start up a territory?
Franchise fee is 59,000, and we say 75, but it's because you need a computer and a car and
Cell phone and
some things, but you have
basics
those
to
things
internet.
already generally. Yeah, but yeah.
Got it. So they pay 59,000. They get 10,000. Is it 10,000 homes or
50,000.
50,000? They get
50,000.
50,000 homes that meet your criteria, income,
Yes.
whatever. Um, they work those locally, but they find a big player that wants like me. They get me. I got whatever 33 stores. They want to get me in all the markets. I
Yep.
can have one point of contact, one invoice. I deal with that
Yep.
one person. They help me, and they all coordinate on the back end, so I don't have like whatever 33 different people to deal with, which I'm not going to do.
Not going to do.
So got it.
Yeah.
How does the Omaha
You'd
deal
be a
work? The
great
Omaha
customer.
Steaks.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. How does the Omaha Steaks deal work? Is that a corporate one, or is that like a franchisee that would get that
So we have
type
a
of deal?
national accounts team. Now, a franchisee could have sold it, and we would have worked together with them to get that done. And that does happen. Franchisees do sell national accounts, but Omaha Steak happens to be one of our national account team
So you
members.
guys sell that corporately, and then they just get the carriage fee. Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, same thing with exactly.
Okay.
And there's some complications in that, but yeah, that's exactly how
Yeah.
it works.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's,
So how did you guys get so many? So you've got how many corporate locations? 180 or so
There's
currently?
160 to 180 territories inside our 8 million, right?
Yep.
And we how did we get that big? Did you say? Is that what
Oh,
you
no,
asked?
how many does corporate operate that are corporate run?
Oh, we operate about 80 of them, and we want to
It,
franchise those for sure because the franchise, it's really our model. But during COVID and the transition, we lost some of those, but we wanted to keep the territories open. We want to obviously franchise those again, but then also expand the footprint.
Got it.
And,
Yeah,
and
so
Brian,
kind of getting to that time period. You're a franchisee up to at what point? Then let's kind of talk about COVID and how you transitioned to become the CEO.
that'd be awesome. If I could just make one point really quickly.
Yeah.
As a new franchisee, and maybe I'll cover that after COVID a little bit, but what's really important is you're walking in doing that 50,000 home area, but we keep all your overhead in the beginning. We want our franchisees making money as soon as they start selling. As soon as they get out and they're
Okay.
selling, they're not worried about $7,000 in rent. They're worried about selling. And then we add overhead slowly over, it takes us over a year to add up all the overhead back so that they're now covering
So
their
they've got
own.
a ramp up period. And what's overhead like the print? I don't know. What's overhead
Overhead is,
fees?
because print's variable, right? Overhead would be like your postage and your envelope, essentially, and your
Got
royalty.
it.
Okay. But we don't, we give zero of that up front. We try to ramp that up so that people are excited and making money from day one and they just stay ahead of their overhead. So,
Got it. Yeah, that's a
yeah,
great incentive. As somebody ramps up, and that's one of the scariest parts as you start this business. How much money I'm going to make? Trying to understand the expenses, and like the simpler it becomes, right? The easier then it just becomes to start to generate cash flow, build confidence, and then you can continue to grow.
yeah, and look, and all franchising, great franchising is a real meeting of the minds between the franchisees and franchisor, and so on and so forth. I can give you 10 different things after being an IFA board member forever and studying franchising. You know what it really comes down to? Franchise satisfaction, which always comes down to almost always franchise profitability. Your
Yep.
franchisees make money, everybody's happy. So 30 years, right? I start this career. I got these other businesses. I'm loving the business. I'm growing it. 2003, it's almost 10 years later, I decide, you know what, I should go full time in Money Miller. And even though I'm going to keep all my other stuff, I'm going to reallocate my time. Brian kind of said the things you were talking about at
Yep.
the beginning. And I
Chasing that rabbit.
reallocated,
Yep.
right, exactly. And I reallocated more time to Money Miller. And it started growing really exponentially. It was just a fabulous business, did millions of dollars in business and a whole lot of bottom line. And we were very happy doing that and keeping our other stuff. But then, I started getting more involved on we had a franchise board, and then eventually I became on the advisory board and then the board of
Yep.
the main company. I was coaching with the management team. We're all working together, right? Because I had certain things in the street they didn't have, and obviously they had a 60,000 foot view I didn't have, and that consulting arrangement went really well. During COVID, our owner, great owner, loved her. Um, she was in the hotel and other
Mm.
businesses, and she's like, "Look, I got to put it in someone else's hands," I bought it with a couple of partners, and then those partners left in March of this year, and we had another successful transaction, and we're I'm still here as principal and CEO, but we have a very strong ownership team that we enjoy a lot.
Okay. Can you say who it is?
Yeah, marketing.com,
Okay. Are they pretty big? Sounds good. To name.
650 million. It's a good,
Okay. Good. Good.
decent size.
Um, yes, that's pretty interesting, and kind of speaks to the value too of being a franchisee, being involved. I think what a lot of people don't realize from the outside is the strength of the community that exists within a franchise system, and that you can go out and obviously meeting the minds, you can share best practices, you can share ideas, you can get involved. If they have a franchise advisory committee, which most like legitimate brands do, where
Mhm.
you become I'm on the franchise advisory committee for Midas, right? And we meet quarterly or whatever it is, and we're bringing all the best ideas in a thriving relationship. They will take those ideas and implement them, and in a not thriving relationship, they won't. But
Right.
it's all part of it. But then, yeah, you build the relationships and you get to know, and then at a certain point, yeah, like you never know. You have this opportunity. You're not the first one either that has had a similar story of franchisee to really get involved in corporate and helping and adding value to then taking over the company, right? Which is awesome. So
Yeah,
good job.
those opportunities still exist today, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But Brian, at a basic level, why I love the Money Miller model. I mean, you walk in as a friend. We'll teach you anything. You don't need sales background. You need discipline, and you need to be able to get over that hurdle we talked about. but we'll teach you everything else, and you'll build it as big as you want to build it, and you'll get more or less involved, or you'll do other businesses. I don't know what you'll do, right? But I do know this, that when you build Money Mail, you're going to make yourself a nice living, and you're going to have flexibility in your lifestyle. And nothing bad is going to happen at night or weekends or whatever. No
Yeah.
employees are not going to show up, and so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it's
That's
always had
excellent
a
for the,
cost, you
for
know.
the person that kind of wants that model. They're good with the B2B, or they're comfortable talking to business owners, and, go with sales, and they, like I said, don't want the hassles of employees and, all the stuff. I mean, it's 9 to 5 or whenever, like, you've got that client to deal with, and you're both off and relaxed and thinking about the
Yeah,
next thing. So let's get into your numbers a little bit. So 56
sure.
grand franchise fee, or 59 grand
Yeah,
franchise fee, plus whatever other stuff, ancillaries. Talk a little bit about the financial performance. I know you do have some numbers in your item 19 from 2022, because we got to wait probably till April or so to get the
yeah.
newest one. So how do we do in 2022? Give me kind of the numbers and what it means.
Yeah, we're pretty proud. Obviously, it's not an easy time, right? You come out of COVID. We COVID hung on, as you know, with first you had lack of employees, and then,
Yep.
well, first you had the shutting down longer, and then you had the lack of employees, and you had crazy inflation, and then on our side we had supply shortages with paper. Everybody had supply shortages, right? But in our case, paper is kind of a big deal. So you're fighting all those things, and our franchisees fought through it, and we fought through it. And our item 19 shows $138,000 average income last year. We're pretty proud of that. And our top 25% is 309,000. We feel like for our level of investment and for the work-life balance that you have, it goes really well. And it's not unusual for a great franchisee to go out and pound it hard and surpass all those numbers. So we're really happy and
Yep.
proud about that. But it's up to them. It's all about
Yeah. This is a eat what you kill business. There's no,
exactly.
you got to go out and make it. Yeah. That, I mean, it's got the top guy did $446,000. And the worst did 22,000. Didn't even try. Right.
Like you said, some don't do anything, and some do something, and you can't make adults do anything. I've learned that a long time ago. They're going
Yep.
to do what they're going to do.
But it was like risk reward. I mean, to get into a business for 60K to be able to make 400, or whatever you can do is a really good, there's really good unit economics there. But the varying of performance, because it's the individual, right? The individual has to go out and they have to work it, and like, I'm sure, like you said, you guys help with leads, but someone's still going to go and build the relationship and express the value and all that stuff.
And
So
they get they need to get leads on their own as well, right? So
yep, yeah, knocking
that's
on doors, calling,
yep.
hitting up people. That's interesting. So can it be scaled to having employees that are the sales reps, and like, I don't know how big, if someone wanted to eventually replace themselves, like what would that look like? Like, how do you guys operate it from a corporate level? Like, maybe that could be a good comparison.
So I think there's opportunity to do so, but it's going to be a very specific candidate and very special candidate. Prior to COVID, and it's a complicated story where this person ended up at a competitor, so it wasn't the most fun story for me. But we had someone with essentially the equivalent of 50 territories.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's not small.
Yeah.
But it can be done. It takes a certain a person to be able to do that. I think there are things in our model that make it a little easier today, but we're right now a little more focused on the single operators. But
Okay.
we would happily take the right multi-unit operator who wanted a staff to do this. But I can tell you this: they need to know our business well. I can't have Brian. I can't have the IHOPs that I have my partner if I didn't know the restaurant business well from my background, years ago and all these years, right? So, you can have IHOPs, but you can't just buy an IHOP and not have been in the restaurant space. It's probably going to be a little more difficult. So, we can train people on Money Mailer, but I would ask them to really know the business well and then develop a bunch of people, or bring them in at the same time, however you want to do it.
Yep. What do you see the key differences between you and, like, I don't know, Money Pages or Valpak, or I don't know, any other thing that direct mail pieces that people can get into?
I got to tell you, I think we have great competitors in the space, right? Whether it's Valpak, Clipper, the big national players are Valpak, Clipper. You have like Home Mag and so on, a little bit different. We look at it, and I think they look at it, and I know they look at it the same way. It's really, we're all in a space. There's plenty of room here for us. We want to prove the efficacy of what we do, our digital and print together as the best option for return on investment and for easy use for our clients, right? People can go all digital. That has limitations. They can go all print. That has limitations, right? But we feel like we do a really nice job of covering the basis for our clients. And, if you're in a magazine space, right, they do an ad on both sides. So they have some cost advantages in paper, which is not paper, weight, trucking, delivery. They're postage. They have some
Yep.
advantages, but they have cost advantages. And then sometimes when, we have advantages in the envelope space, whether it be us or Valpak, because there are single pieces coming out. But I think there's plenty of room for all of us, and our job is to evangelize why our print and digital together works the best. One
Okay.
one thing that we have that our competitors do not have is we franchise, right? And generally our
Oh, they're
competitors
corporate.
do
They're
not
all corporate.
franchise. Yeah,
Got
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So direct mail's not dead, is what you're saying?
No, yeah, I know. It's really funny. When I first got in the business, they said in 10 years, it's all going to be on the phone. And I'm like, yeah, we'll prepare for that. You know what, Brian, the value is in the client, right? Whatever return on investment, if it had to be all digital one day, we'd be prepared for it. We're very good in that space. It just never materializes. What you want is wherever the best return is for those clients, that's where we'll be. And right now, it's the package we have together. But yes, I love the print is not dead. It's like 30th anniversary of hearing the same thing.
Yep. What are some of the, so since you've taken over, now you've got this new financial partner, marketing.com or whatever,
Yeah,
like what does 2024 and beyond look like? Like how will you continue to evolve and make franchisees more profitable and successful?
I love that question. So we are highly focused on franchising in those corporate markets, but for the franchisees themselves, we have been able to almost triple our inbound leads in 2023. It's a decent number, but it's not anywhere we need to be. So we want to again double or triple our incoming leads. We're putting a lot of money behind that, and we want to make the life of the franchisee even easier. I don't think we'll get to billing today, in 2024, but we'll move towards it. Whatever we can do to keep our franchisees with as much free time, but also as much selling time that they need to do. That's where we'll focus. And the second area we're going to have, or third area, I guess, of real high focus is we look at our monthly users on moneymower.com and our app consistently. Same thing with our landing pages. We track it all. And we have a really strong focus on increasing our number of monthly users. We just became indexed and a host on Haibu. I don't know if I'm
I've
sorry,
heard of that. Yeah.
on Next. And then we just had a partnership with Haibu. So Yext indexes all small businesses, make it their life really easy, as you probably know. So we became one of those data points. So we're going to really ramp our monthly users up on the digital side just to enhance our client experience, which then of course will enhance our franchisees.
Yep. It's awesome. Um, Great. Well, I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. I'm sure we could talk for hours, but we're gonna get going here. So if anybody's listening and wants to learn more about Money Mailer, you can reach out to me through Twitter, LinkedIn. You can email me wherever you can find me and let me know, and we could find an open territory. I know you mentioned the corporate locations. I believe you have a number of incentives too going on right now that can
Absolutely.
take over these corporate locations, and they're kind of starting with a book of business and some ramp
Yes.
up periods. So like a lot of great incentives if this is the right business for you. And if you reach out to Money Mailer directly, just tell them you heard about it here, and I'll be sure to share with you a bunch of resources. I provide people checklists like due diligence resources, attorney referrals, all this stuff to give you confidence. So thanks again, Tom, for coming on, and I look forward to seeing what you guys do.
Brian, thanks for having me. I could talk to you all day. So I really enjoyed it.
All right. Thanks, Tom.